Good morning, Scorpio. Did you sleep well last night? Good. Did you dream about anything? Do you want to talk about it? Okay, let's. Oh. Okay. So let me just repeat this back to you. You were standing on the rooftop of a building. In your hands, you held the entire world. As you looked out and saw the oceans, the mountains, the trees, and things before you, there suddenly began a rumbling in the earth, including the one in your hand. To your surprise, there were trees and branches popping up through the rooftop of your home that you were standing upon. You had to move quickly to keep from having one go through your foot. As one of the sticks were coming through the roof, you grabbed it and broke it and began to use it to beat back the ones that were popping up all around you. As you were fighting back these sticks, you noticed a woman sitting in front of a kitchen curtain saying, "I told you so. I told you so. I told you so." This went on for the remainder of the evening and all throughout the night until the sun began to rise the following day. Finally, you were overly exhausted and you just couldn't keep on. Dropping to your knees, you dropped the stick that you were holding in your hand as the trees continued to burst through the roof around you, threatening to overtake you. That's when you heard the sound of a horn blowing in the distance, and suddenly the trees stopped. The woman in front of the curtain began to transform, and trees began to grow from her head like hair. She stood up, took the curtain down, and you watched it change into rainbow colors before your eyes. She began to dance and spin with joy and glee. Animals began to gather around her feet, dancing and celebrating. From the corner of your eye, you noticed a small dot approaching you from across the water. As it got closer and closer, you recognized that it was in fact a dragon. It landed lightly on the roof, and the woman, along with all the other animals, got on top of the dragon's back. They beckoned you to come forward. And you did. As you all flew across the sky, you drew closer and closer to a snowy landscape. Suddenly, the dragon changed into a polar bear, and you were running across the frozen tundra. When the polar bear had run as far as it could and came to the edge of a cliff, which led back over the ocean, he jumped up and sprouted wings, becoming a giant owl. And you all rode out across the ocean. You could see tropical islands beneath you. After you had been flying for a while, you noticed that the earth beneath you was looking familiar again. You had come full circle, back to where you started. You wondered why. When you landed on the roof, you stood there, and all of the animals and the woman with the trees growing out of her head looked out over the ocean. And In the distance, you could see another small object approaching, this time in the water. As it drew closer and closer, you noticed that it was a giant sea turtle with a chest of treasure on its back. The woman with the trees growing from her head looked out and beckoned the sea turtle to come closer. It did. She reached down into the treasure chest and picked up a handful of hearts. She then scattered them in the wind and watched as they blew all around across the landscape and out onto the horizon. You scooped up some of the hearts as they landed on the roof. They began to come together and form a new world in your hand. You gathered as many hearts as you could until it was formed even better than what you were holding before. Very interesting, Scorpio. What do you remember seeing when you first woke up after having a dream like that? Oh, okay. Have you heard of dreammoods.com? That's a really helpful tool for doing dream interpretations when you have dreams that might be a little tricky to figure out. Thanks for sharing that with me. I hope that you have a really good day.